Hey, good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us this morning. Awesome. So this session is being recorded. Super excited that you're here. We're going to be going through quickly the listings, the marketings, and an overview of the tools and preferences that you have access to. The goal of today is to get you some exposure to what's available to you within IQ Office and open up the door for you to attend future trainings that happen Monday mornings at 8 a.m. This is an interactive webinar, so if you have any questions, please let us know. Carrie, you should be able to hear me now. Yes? Everybody else, it looks like they could hear me. Awesome. There's not a video yet. So there will be a video. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you, and you're going to be going through we're going to be going through that. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Know that this is, as soon as that recording is available, I will send it out to you all. I rely on my software to really go in and let me know when that is available. So as soon as I've got that, I will send that out to you. When you're looking at your IQ Office, what we went through last week is really digging into your messaging, your customer relations, and your files. Today, we're going to be going through the listings, the marketing, and the tools. So there is a lot of information in there. And if you have questions, please ask. Good morning, Jennifer. We don't want to miss any of those questions. There's no such thing as a silly question, just a question that goes unasked. If you have the question, someone else probably has the same question. So jumping into what you can do with your listings. All of your listings are populating directly from the MLS. So you can go in and access your listings by clicking on listings, for sale listings. You also can get there on the quick link on your home screen here that says listings. When you do that, it will open up your main listing dashboard, and you'll see a section. Some of you will only see your own listings depending on your company settings. Some of you will see something that says all listings and then my listings right next to it that subdivides those listings. When you go into your listings, you have a few options. So you can click on your listings. It opens up an edit screen. It's automatically pulling the images. And as you scroll down, you can see information that it's pulling. If you would like to edit the description, you can absolutely edit the description. Once you do that, the description will be updated from the MLS. And below that, there's a section that has a story. So if you have a seller who has a particular story that they would like to share about their home, you can type it in here. You also, underneath people, can add the seller to the property. And what that does is it gives the seller a portal. And when they go to your website to log in, they see the statistics about their home. So they would go in, they click on My Portal, and then they'd see the statistics about their home. How many impressions today, how many views it's had. Josephine, this is as clear as I can make it right now. I'm working with the provider to get that image clearer. And so I wish there was something that I could do to make that better. I will move a little bit slower so that you can see where I'm pointing. But in that seller portal, it will always have your information as the agent. And then it will have those web statistics. Again, to add that seller, you would click here underneath the seller. Also, from this section, you can go in and you can easily print or email a flyer by clicking print or email flyer. And that will bring up all your flyer options. Once you select that flyer, it will automatically insert all of the information from MLS, including the photos. So here are all the photos. You can then go in and edit photos as well as information. You're given the option to save and print this, save and email it, or you can just save it. All of your saved found underneath this marketing tab, And we're going to get into that My Saved content here in just a little bit. You can also schedule your open houses. So you can go in, you can schedule that open house. You would choose the date and the time, and then click finish. Once you do that, that open house is automatically displayed on the website for the listing. So when I go to 204 North Canyon Road, I can see that that open house is being held, and it displays on your website. There are a few other things you need to know about underneath your listings. The first being, that's a great question. So Daisy asked the question, will it update MLS? And the feed that we get from your MLS is a one-way feed. So we are pulling information from the MLS, but we are not able to send information back to the MLS. However, if you put your open house in the MLS, and that is a field that your MLS exports, we are able to display that as well, and it will automatically populate as long as your MLS is exporting that information. Does that answer your question, Daisy? Yeah, no problem. So there is also a section underneath your listing that's called Action Plans. And within that Actions tab, you can click and you can add individual actions for a listing, or you can attach an existing listing plan. So I can go up to the plus new in the upper right-hand corner. I can add a follow-up request and say, check, sign, install. And that is due on Friday. I want it to be assigned to the listing agent. Do I want it to be visible to the seller in their portal? Yes or no? And now I can see that action is pending. These actions also will populate on the agent's to-do gauge. So on your to-do gauge as the listing agent, that would populate here. You can also attach an entire action plan underneath that Actions tab. You would just click on the plus add, and then there are company action plans that have been added, or if you had created your own action plan, those are available, and you would click save. And then all of the action plans items associated with that action plan would automatically be assigned to you. Josephine asked the question, can I promote any listing in the MLS? Josephine, that is a question for your broker. So I don't know what your particular rules are for your area and your MLS and your brokerage. So that is a question that you need to ask your broker. And if the answer is yes, you can use your IQ office to do that depending on the settings. So the first place you need to go with that question is your broker. I wish I had a answer for that, but every company does that a little bit different, and every MLS handles that a little bit differently. There's also a section if you need a place to manage your showings. So if you are not using a showing software, your IQ office can act as a showing software. You can create a showing request. You would go in, you would type the agent's name who is holding the open house. You would put in the day and the time. So you'd say, hey, this is for Wednesday at 8 a.m., 7:45 to 8 a.m. It is confirmed, it's a showing, reminders, all of that. You click save. You can choose if these showings are confirmed by the agent, by the seller or the agent, if they're confirmed by the company, or if they're just automatically confirmed. You can also have instructions for showing, something like don't pet the cat, they bite. Directions, which are geographical directions. And then any notes you put into this section are going to show only for you. So if it's something like client has church on Sundays, no showings between 11:30 and 1 o'clock, you could have those notes here, and those are private for you. It will keep a running tally of all of your showing requests here, and you can go in, you can edit, you can cancel, you can reschedule them, but then you have a running list of all of your showings. There's also a section that is called reports, and this is a really great tool. And I like to start using this tool at the point of the listing appointment. And so when you go to a listing appointment, one of the best questions that you can ask is, how many agents are you interviewing? And get an answer for that. How I respond to that question is, hey, Annette, thank you so much for having me as part to come to list your home and talk about the selling process. I'm really excited to be here. Can I ask you how many agents you're interviewing? Annette would say she's interviewing between 2 and 3 agents is the typical answer. Awesome. I'm glad you're exploring your options. I think that's really important because selling your home is a really difficult thing, even if everything goes smoothly, and it's important you're comfortable with the person that you choose. I can spend some time today talking about how to price your home and what that means, but there are some things that I want to talk about that make me different from the other agents you're going to interview, because we're all very good at our jobs. We're really going to come up with a fairly similar price based on the comps that are in the market, and we can go through the pricing things, but I want to talk to you about what happens after we list your house. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to assign my marketing plan to your listing, and you're going to have access to those action items within the seller portal that I set up. You're also going to have access to statistics through that seller portal where you can go in and you can see how many times your listing is being viewed online and where those people are coming from. And if you want, I can have that email sent to you. Would you like to receive it every week, every 2 weeks, or once a month? And Annette says, I want to receive it every week. So I would go in, you have your seller in the system. Let's just put a seller in here. And I'm going to say I want to send this every week. Now, I'm going to choose here on the right-hand side of the screen that says, what features do I want included in that report? I want the listing detail. If I'm using the showings tab, I want showing included. If I want web activity, if I want competition, and if I want referral. Referrals means how visitors are getting to that site. Then on the left-hand side of the screen, I'm setting the parameters for the competition. So the competition for this listing is between 550 and 650, and it has a square footage of at least 2,500 square feet. And there are 3 bedrooms minimum, 2 bathrooms minimum, and it has a 2-car garage. I then can choose a location based on community name. And when you click on this button here on the right side, it will pull all the communities that are coming in from your MLS. You just check the box next to the community or communities that you would like to include. You can do it by zip code, you can do it by map, any order. You also can preview that report. So if I click on view, it's going to pull up a copy of that report. It will always show your information as the listing agent in the upper right-hand corner. It's going to show a detailed list of the listing, what's the list price, the MLS, and then it's going to show the showing activity, the referrals, graphs on what's happening, and web activity. Now, when I'm at my listing appointment, I also bring this up. Hey, Annette, I also just want to quickly point out, because I'm going to be sending you that report, I think it's really important to just note a couple things. The first thing is, I know that agent XYZ at XYZ Brokerage is going to come in and talk to you about how your home is on thousands of websites. And that's awesome. But you also need to know that it doesn't matter how many listings or how many websites your listing is on if nobody's looking at it. And so in that report, I'm really focused on how many people are viewing your listings. Carrie, that's a great question. So Carrie said, can you sort by school district? So you're talking about here underneath the competition for location, right? Yep. So what you would do, Carrie, is you could actually go in and you could sort by map is probably the easiest way to do that. And then you would scroll in to the approximate boundaries. You can, in the search function for customers, search by school district, So let me ask if that's a feature request that we could accommodate. So I would use that map search for the school district, or I would go in and say, hey, I know these communities are part of that school district. But let me see if underneath location, we couldn't add something that was school district here. Because I know we're pulling that information. Yeah. So the nice thing about that, so just so y'all know, if you're not looking at the chat box, is Carrie said, hey, that'd be great. There's one school and it's in 3 townships, 1 city, and there's other schools that are also in that area. So let me find out the answer to that, Carrie. So this reporting tool is a great tool for you. It automatically goes out. You set it up once after the listing is created, and your seller is automatically getting updated. So underneath listings, this is what we've talked about. We've talked about going to that details page, and you have an ability to share a details or showcase page instantly to social media or open it up via website. You can attach your seller to the listing, and that gives them access to a seller portal. That seller portal, they're able to see the statistics. They're also able to see actions if you designate them. The seller can add a story within their seller portal. So within that seller portal, there's a section that says property story, and they can add their own property story. As an agent, you can go in and you can edit their story, and you can also choose if it is displayed, yes or no. So you control all of that narrative. You can add follow-up actions individually or by action plans. You can schedule your open houses, you can schedule your showings, and you can create reports to automatically send out to your seller. There are a few other things you need to know about underneath this listings tab. The first one is this open houses. And so within the open house screen, this is where you can go in and you can view your open houses. You can also edit your open houses here. So if the time for this open house changed, you can go in and you can say, hey, I'm changing the time of that open house. You can also go in and delete those open houses. If you have a listing and you would like to have someone else hold that listing open, you can create an open house opportunity. So you can go in, you would select the home that you would like to create the opportunity for. You're going to say, hey, I need someone to sit this open on this date between these times. And then it goes into the open house opportunities, where any agent in your office can go in and say, I'm going to hold this open. So you're not spending time searching for people to hold open houses for you. You also have the access to an open house sign-in page. And I'm actually going to go into a different account really quick and show you what that looks like, because it's only available on a live site, not on my demo site. So if I go in and I look at all the open houses here, I can go into actions and then to the sign-in page, and it will open up a sign-in page that displays information about my open house. You can easily capture information here. Information goes to the agent who is hosting the open house. The client is given the opportunity, once they sign in, to text or email that property information directly to their cell phone. Again, to get there, you went to listings, open houses, and then actions, sign-in page. All of your to-do actions will show up on your to-do gauge on your main dashboard. So let's look at Carol. We assigned some actions for Carol. Here are all of her listing actions that she has due. To mark those as done, she would click done. She would put in the note saying this is complete. Here is the website. And click save. If you want to get back to your notes on that, you would simply just go back to that listing And underneath the Actions tab, you can see the completed action, and you can edit it or you can view it. So that is the Listings tab in a nutshell. Any questions underneath that Listings tab? Automatically feeding from MLS, create your flyers, add your follow-up marketing actions, schedule showings, and schedule seller reports. If you don't have any questions, if you can type an N in that chat box, then I know y'all are ready to go to the next section. Awesome. Thanks, Daisy. Perfect. So let's jump into this marketing section. Underneath the marketing tab, you have a lot of options. Underneath listings, we created some flyers to get back to your my saved content. When you do that, it opens up your main content dashboard. You can search for content by using this search bar. You also can add new content by clicking the plus add content button in the upper right-hand corner. When you do that, it's going to open up a screen for you to choose the content type that you would like to use. There are blank content, there's holiday cards, there are e-blast flyers, there are letters, there's property flyers, so there's a lot of information. E-newsletters, so I can go in, I can view all the newsletters. If I want to do a holiday, I can view all the President's Day. If I wanted to do an e-blast for an open house, I can view all the e-blasts for an open house. Once you've chosen your category and you've chosen your layout, you're just going to click the select button. And when you do that, it's going to open up the edit screen from the right-hand side of the screen. To insert a property information, you're going to click on this select property, and then you can type in an MLS ID if you would like here, or you can choose and check the box next to a property here. Now, based on what your company rules are, you can create flyers for any property in the MLS. So this is pulling properties from the entire MLS. I go through, I say, hey, I want to use this, and then it's going to update that information. If I want to change a photo, I would click on the photo, and I can go to the Property Images tab, and I can select a photo. It will show me the size of the crop that is the best fit. I click Save, and it's automatically inserting. If I want to change the front image and say, hey, I want to use actually this photo, again, it's cropping it and automatically inserting it. Anything I highlight over that shows an edit pencil is something that I can change. I can save and get the HTML code. So if you want to put this on your blog or you want to share it via code, you can do that. You can save and email it out. So you can say, hey, save an email, type in your contact name, and click send and send it out from here. You also can just save it, and then it would be available underneath all of your content. Here's my open house flyer. Once you've created the content, you click actions and you can easily edit. Richard asks, can we edit the crop? So if you go in here, you say, hey, I want to choose this image. Can I edit the crop? Yes. So if you said, hey, I want to show this, you can edit the crop. Again, clicking save to make sure you saved all those changes. Josephine, I will tell you it's a different selection. So within our e-marketing content, if you want to look at Halloween cards, you would go in and you would choose holiday cards, Halloween, and then you can look at all of our selection. So holiday, Halloween. I think the hard thing with that better selection is everybody's view of what better selection means is different. I think there's a really good selection of options within IQ Office. You also could create your own content. So if you said, hey, I want to upload my own image that I've created and using my own stuff, you can choose this blank content. And then you can insert images, links, you can type your text in. So you can create your own content as well. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is my orders. So Daisy asked, do you get a copy of what is sent? Daisy, that would all be in your messaging. So you can go into your IQ messaging and you can go into your sent and you can see everything here. We're also going to talk about using email campaigns and how you can see what is sent there, but you're creating the content. So you've already seen what it is. So if I go in here and I want to see what is sent, if I click email, this is what it's going to look like. It looks exactly like this. And you're pushing that send button. So my orders, there's also a postcard order system within IQ Office. To get there, you're going to go to marketing, my orders, and then you're going to add plus new order. Again, there is a lot of content in here for you to choose from. Agent promotions, home values, just sold. You would select the postcard that you liked. And then select the property if you wanted to insert a property. Again, just like the flyers, the e-flyers and the print flyers, it's going to automatically insert all that information from your MLS. Anything that you highlight over is something that you can edit. On the next screen, you're going to be able to go in and you're going to be able to order by contact, have them delivered to the office, or do a targeted mailing list. Once you've made your selection, you would click Save and Continue. It's going to give you a review of your order. Then you'll click Payment. You would enter in your credit card information. Once you've submitted your payment, you will start to get proofs of your content. Once your content is approved by you, we get it off to the printer. The printer turns it around as quickly as possible, typically within 48 hours, and then it's shipped to the mailbox or the post office to be sent out. When you order postcards, they take 7 to 10 business days to arrive. You know when they arrive because a copy of the postcard is also sent to your office address. So you get a copy of what is sent. Again, to get there, you go into marketing and my orders. The last thing that we're going to talk about is creating email campaigns. So once you've gone in and created content, whether it's buyer flyers or why use me information, you can create an email campaign. When you're creating an email campaign, oh yeah, Carrie, that's a really good thing. So Back At You is who processes the bill. We have merged with Back At You Media, and there will be more information coming into that as well. So what you're going to see on your credit card is Back At You on your credit card statement. Good point, Carrie. Is it Carrie or Kari? And thank you for making sure that I covered that. So again, marketing, and we're going into campaigns. An email campaign is an automatic email campaign with multiple events that automatically go out. So you're scheduling your emails to go out to a specific contact group, and you're matching the content to the contact group. To create a new campaign, you're going to click plus campaign in the upper right-hand corner. When you do that, it's going to open up the first screen where you're going to name your campaign. I recommend naming your campaign in a way that you know what contact type is on there. So if this was my all contact email campaign, then I know what it is. Then I'm going to choose from my content what I would like the first event to be. So if I have a new listing email or a welcome letter, I can select that. It's going to automatically insert that content. And I am now going to choose the subject line of the email. So this is going to be, I will, got your request. And the title, if I want it to be different so I can at a glance see what it is going to be welcome email. I choose how I want to send this. Do I want to send using a date, a month, a holiday or a birthday, an interval, a day of week, or a transaction date? If this is something that I want to go out, the first time I add them to this campaign, I would choose interval, day 1. I can also choose the time. So if I choose send after time at 9 a.m., it's going to start sending these. And then I click next. It's going to say, hey, do you want to change the content for only this event or for all content? I can then add recipients here. Best practice is to use contact type. I could go in and I could say, hey, I'm using all my contact types. Finish and done. Now I can see here's my all contact email campaign. To add an additional event, I would go in, I would edit the campaign. I'm going to add an additional event and go through that process all again. Something I do want y'all to know is you can choose how information is sent out on a per event basis. So just because for that event that I did a welcome letter, it was an interval, I can then choose my next email to go out on a date if I want. And the one after that maybe is a holiday card, so that you can really mix and match how things are sending out within a campaign. So I'm going to say, okay, this is an open house for this weekend. I'm going to send it on the 11th at 4 p.m. and click finish. Again, I'm saving the content only for this event and done. And now I can see both of those events. You also get statistics. So let me just pull up a live campaign so you can see what that statistics section looks like, because marketing is only as good as the measuring that you're doing. So I can go in and I can look at my campaign. Each event has information about what the activity was, and the entire campaign has information as well. What's really nice is I can go in and I can click on a person and I can easily see all of their information without exiting from my campaign. I can also go in and I can see the activity for an individual event, and it will list all of the emails and when they were opened and if they were clicked on. So give this just a minute and it's going to pop up that report to show you. So here it is. I can see that Martha S. Hayes and Associates got this on July 27th, and it was viewed on July 27th, and they saw it once. So again, to build those campaigns, you're going to go into marketing and my campaigns. If you are sending to over 50 people, the best way to do that and not get blocked as spam is to use an email campaign. There's also a section for blogs where you can create and link your own blog to your own website if you're blogging. There's also a section where you can create your own surveys and enter in your testimonials. These are great tools. They are longer conversations than we have time for today. Just know that there is a section for tools for blogs and for testimonials and surveys. If you want to get more information on that today, everything that we do is on our YouTube channel. Every webinar is posted here. Everything is here. So I'm going to share this link with you in the chat box. And if you click on it, it will open in a separate tab so that you can go and see it at a later time. But this is a great resource. So if I wanted to know more just about email marketing campaigns, I could type in email campaigns and it will pull up all of the information about those email campaigns here. So this is a great resource for you. The next thing we need to talk about are underneath the tools and preferences. So this becomes where you really can start to link it all together. Do I have any people on the call today who are a team? If you're a team, will you put I am or a yes in the chat box so I know if there's anyone that's part of a team on here? If you're not, put a no in that chat box so I know that we're good to move on. Cool. If you decide to be a team, or if you need to share contacts or content with someone else in your office, know that the system has that ability. Where we're going to spend the remainder of our time here is underneath action plans. So once you've gone in and created your content, you can attach it to an action plan. We talked a little bit about those with listings. Last week, we talked a little bit about those with contacts. Again, tools, action plans is where you can create those. To make a new action plan, you're going to click on the plus new button in the upper right-hand corner, and you're going to name your action plan. So if this action plan was a first-time home buyer, you would go in, you would type the action plan name, you choose, is this for listings or is this for people, and click save. Once you do that, again, that edit screen pops out from the right-hand side and you can add items. So how many of you have a list of things that you do when you get a new lead that are for first-time home buyer leads? Hey, I'm going to send them an email and then I follow up in 2 weeks and then I'm going to invite them to my open house and then I'm going to send them another email and then I'm going to call them after 3 weeks. Are you all working lists like that? If you're shaking your head yes or no, I can't see you. So type yes, I'm doing that, or no, I'm not. Awesome. So the point of this is that you can really start to assign a list of those things to contacts and or listings so that you're working your plan. Because without a plan for contact types, you're going to forget to follow up. To add an action item, you're going to click this plus button in the upper right-hand corner. You choose the type. Is it a follow-up automatic email? Is it a follow-up request? Is it an add to campaign? I'm going to say, hey, I'm automatically going to send out an email. The item name is welcome email. And the subject is going to be great to meet you. I want it to send out immediately after they're added to this plan, but I want the system to wait an hour so it's not so automated. I'm sending it from myself. I'm choosing from the content I created, my welcome email, and I'm going to send it to the contact and lead, but I also want to copy myself on it. So you can send it to both, so it goes to both of you, or you can add a copy or a blind copy. So you could type your name in here. Then you click save. Then you can add an additional event. Okay, I need a follow-up request. This is going to be a call follow-up. And I'm going to say it's due 3 days after they're on the action plan. I don't want to blacklist myself if it's overdue. Do I want to repeat it? Yes. And I want to repeat it every 10 days for the next, and I want to do that for the next, say, 40 days. And I add that. The same for a campaign. Okay, I want to add them to an email campaign. This is my holiday e-card. I'm going to choose the campaign. Okay, this is my buyer's campaign. Save. And you can add as many items to this list as you'd like. So for those of you that don't have a list, it's time to start making those lists of when and how you're going to follow up with people. Now you can digitize these lists. So now I've got a digital list of what I'm going to do. I save it. I close here, first-time home buyer, and then I can attach it. So I go into my customer relations. I locate the first-time home buyer. I go into my actions. I add an action plan and say, okay, here's my first-time home buyer action plan. Save. Now I know I've got these items to do. Anything that I manually need to do is going to show on my home screen. Here's my call follow-up item. Because that's a repeatable item, once I complete this and click save, I can go in and I can say, hey, I need to see, oh, yep, here's my follow-up. So it's auto-assigning those next things for you. So you're working from your main dashboard for your listings and for your clients instead of going 10 different places to do things. Again, that was all underneath tools and preferences and my action plans. If you have an item that you would like to add to your to-do gauge that is not part of a client or a listing, you can go into your to-do/calendar here, and you can add events. So if you had something like headshots, I'm going to say this is going to go in. This is my headshots scheduled. It is at this address. I can type in the address or the office. So if I start typing the address, it's going to come in and I'm going to say, this is where it is. I've got those scheduled for Friday the 18th at 1:15 p.m. They said they were going to take till 3:15 p.m. Next, I review it all and I click finish. And now it's going to show on my to-do, Friday the 18th, I've got a headshot scheduled. Yeah, so Annette asked a really good question. If the company has created action plans, you're creating action plans from a company. So when you attach something to a contact and you go in and you say, hey, I need to attach an action plan, this is pulling from all of your personal action plans as well as the company plans. So agents have access to both. For both listings and contacts. Great question, Annette. Other questions? That is a ton of information in a very short amount of time. So what's next for y'all? Annette, did that answer your question? No, agents' action plans are only the agents. They do not go to the company level. They also don't go to other agents. So that second question Annette asked for that was, what about the other way? If an agent creates an action plan, does the company have access to it? And the answer is no. Your action plans as an agent are your action plans, not the company's. They can't use those to share with others. So what resources do you have available to you? We already talked a little bit about the YouTube channel. So there is a YouTube channel. Again, this is the best place to really search for videos. So if I wanted to go in and I wanted to learn about blogs, I could type in blogs. It's going to pull up all the information about blogs. We also, for those of you that participate in Facebook, have a Facebook group. It's called Realistic Users. And we post all of our webinars, all of our upcoming training. We answer questions via video, all here. So we would love to have you join us here. And you can always find upcoming training sessions on our profile. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share that link as well with you. So that is all going to be set up. All the sessions are recorded. I always send them out to everybody. So whether you attend or not, if you've registered, you get a copy of that. So Suzanne asked a really good question. I want to make sure that we get that answered. Also know that if you click on those two links, they're going to open in separate windows so that you have access to them after the webinar ends. And Susan asked, do you find yourself using the My Calendar for all your calendar entries to run your business, skipping Google Calendar altogether? So Susan, I right now do it both places so that I have it two places. We are working on a full integration with Google and Outlook to have it so that your to-do gauge items will sync to your Google Calendar and you don't have to double entry. It depends on what type of person you are on if you want them both places. For me, going in and having an item on my Google Calendar that says work on your to-do list in IQ Office is more effective. And then I log in here and then I have all my items that I need to do. I also have all my notes. So I can say the description is, if it's your responsibility, order your inspections. I can see all the notes about that client here on the right-hand side, and I don't have to have a notebook of clients that I carry around with me. So there is an integration of your calendar and your contacts coming soon for Google and Outlook. Susan, did that answer your question? Kari, that email address, if that's the email address that you registered with, that's where it will go. That is a really another good point. So Susan said that she loves IQ. I'm glad that you love it. It does take a while to learn. I've been using the system since 2012, and there's always something new that I'm learning. So I am able to log in and learn something new every week. If you are new to the system or you're changing your CRM and you're starting to use this system, you should be in your IQ Office at least 15 minutes a day or at least an hour a week. 1 hour a week, however you break that up, is up to you. But get in there, use the system, set yourself up. We're gearing into holiday season, which means that you should have a little bit more time for planning things out and getting yourself set up for success going into 2020. The more that you learn, it is a living, breathing technology. So the more you're in it and the more you're using it, the easier it is. Also keep in mind that we're working on making sure you get monthly release notes that tell you a little bit more about the features that come out, and that will give you a good feature update to continue your learning. We want to make this functional and usable for everyone. And so as the industry is changing and as the standard changes, we're working really hard to stay up with all the technology. Great question, Carrie. So Carrie asked, do the sellers have to set up anything in the portal, or if we set them up in the listing report, will they automatically get the report? And the answer is they'll automatically get the report. So you're going in, you're saying, hey, I'm going in, I'm going to my listing, I'm going to reports, I'm setting it up to send every week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and then it auto sends out for you to their email address. They don't have to do anything. If you have an engineer type who wants to log in every day and see the information about their listing, it absolutely is there for them. For those analytical personality types that want to see it 2, 3, 4 times a day, they have access to that information if they want. But once you set it up here to send out weekly, it's automatically going to go out. Great questions. Carrie, did that answer your question? Cool. Another really good question. How do you categorize your contacts to make this easier? So underneath your contacts dashboard, you can go into a contact and you can add contact types. I recommend adding contact types based on the type of e-marketing material and marketing material they want to receive. So are they buyers? Are they luxury buyers? Are they referral agents? Are they circle of influence? And how you set up the content to direct those people will be different. For example, your sphere of influence probably wants to know about how your business is doing, what's happening in the market, how your family is, you know, how you did in your business the last year. But your luxury buyer might not want to know what your plans are for Christmas. And so really setting those contact types up with the idea that you're creating content to direct at a contact type is the best way that I can advise you to setting up your contact types. Susan, did that answer your question? So you're going to add your contact types here. And then when you go into your marketing and you create your campaigns, you're creating a campaign for your buyers and for your outdoors people and for your referral clients and for your circle of influence and for your referral agents and your sellers. And when you're doing your content, you might have a piece of content that goes on every campaign, but you might have a piece of content that only goes to your outdoors people or only goes to your referral agents. But your information about what's happening in the market might get attached to every single campaign. And so you're going to start in your customer relations, building your customer relation list, adding your contact types. Then you're going to build your content and save your content. And then you're going to build your campaigns. And after you build your content and your campaigns, you're going to go in and you're going to work on your action plans. I find it easiest to work from the top down in your IQ office. Other questions? Great questions today. Thomas, Jim, Craig, Editha, Sharon. You can. So Annette asked, can you have more than one contact type? You can. You just next to that contact type as you would like. Once you click save, all of those contact types will assign. This status code, when leads come in from the system, they automatically will have a status attached to them. You can click on that recycle symbol and you can choose a status. These statuses are linked to company action plans. So if you mark them as an active seller, it will show them as a status active seller. That allows you to sort your contacts on this filter screen underneath the status code here. Status codes are mostly used for leads. Does that answer your question, Suzanne? There's also a section in here that says source. Your source is your big picture where you found someone. So you may have found a client at the regional networking tourism convention that you went to. That's where you found them. And then you're going to subcategorize them based on who they are. This is who that person is and what content they want to receive. This is where you found them underneath source. Other questions? When I saved a postcard, it saves without photos. It's hard to see what the postcard is all about. So Thomas, you're going into marketing and my orders. and it's just showing the thumbnail here, right? I would add in this notes section information so that you can see your notes here, and that will make it easier. Thomas, does that answer your question? So if you go in and you edit it, and on this order screen, if you put in some notes, that will help that, okay? Suzanne, so you would create a source categories to file away. So this is what I would do. And then I'm coming to your question, Carrie. So I like to have a source so that I know, like, okay, this is where I'm finding people and it's a good source or it's a bad source and I can measure my actions. But then when I'm targeting marketing, I don't target my marketing towards sources. I target it to contact types. And then listings, and you're trying to do a vacant land reports. So you should be able to see that, Carrie. When I go to vacant land and it says price range, acreage range, so I can say, hey, the price range is from 190 to 250. The acreage range is this, is 4 to 4.75. I'm changing the location. Is it golf course? Is it waterfront? It's automatically changing this competition to say, hey, only find vacant land. Yep, so it knows that it's vacant land, and so it's choosing the property type that fits the property type of the listing. The system knows. Nope, it should show vacant land. If it isn't, let your manager know and we'll get that fixed. No, it'll only, so if I go in and I do it for commercial, it knows. See how my options are different? Price range, square footage range. It automatically knows that that's a different property type. Awesome. So we are coming to the end of our hours. I do want to make sure that I'm answering all your questions. I would highly encourage you to join us on Facebook and on YouTube so that you're getting updates. And you will be getting a video copy of this recording as soon as it renders. I get an email notification and it goes out. Are there any other questions that I can answer for you all? You're welcome.